Jesus in the New Testament is said to be the image, the glory, the form, the character, the imprint of his Father, and that makes perfect sense. In John 1 we have the phrase about his being the uniquely begotten Son, the Son as of a Father, uniquely begotten Son, as one representing his Father, as reflecting as far as you can in a human being the glory of God. So glory, form, image, character, imprint amount to the same thing. Everybody should understand you cannot reflect the totality of God in a human being. It's out of question. The human being is mortal. God is not. There are evident differences between the two. But the personality, the will of God, the character of God, his qualities of compassion and so on, are illustrated in the greatest and most significant form in the human being Jesus Christ. In that sense, he is the image, form, character, impress, facsimile of God. That's quite clear. But he's also the begotten Son. And Son, of course, implies a later date than the Father. So there's no question about the human Jesus. He's the Son of God, reflecting the glory of God. Now this is most elegantly described by Paul in Philippians chapter 2, which is nothing about a pre-existent, prehistorical Jesus. That has to be read into the text. Paul is simply talking about the man Messiah Jesus there. He uses the phrase, "Let this mind be in you, which was in Messiah Jesus." We know what Paul means by Messiah Jesus from 1 Timothy 2:5. It's the man Messiah Jesus. That's not in question. Nobody thought the Messiah was God himself in Judaism. That would be ridiculous, because God is only one person. And God is not the same as his Son. His Son is clearly derived from him. And we know the Son was begotten in the womb of Mary. That's ultimately clear from Matthew and Luke. And so in Philippians 2, Paul is asking us to copy the model of the historical Jesus. It would be quite weird and wonderful, and I think impractical, for Paul to have said, now think what it's like to be the second member of a triune God, and one day you decide after billions of eternal life, eternal immortal life up there presumably from forever, you suddenly decide to become a man. Now copy that. It's extremely unrealistic. What is much more practical is to say, look at the life of Messiah Jesus as recorded in the Gospels for us. The man Messiah Jesus, importing the word man from 1 Timothy 2:5. Let me talk about the man Messiah Jesus, Paul says. That's the subject of discourse there, not a pre-existing second member of the Trinity. That has to be read into the text. Now, considering that man Messiah Jesus, who indeed was in the form and glory and image are easily equated by some careful word studies. Jesus was the image of God. He was in the form, the rank and status of God, certainly. He says that. Jesus says, if you've seen me, you've seen God. I'm representing God uniquely. But with that form of God, which he had from birth, from the virginal begetting in fact, he doesn't use that enormous quality, that very exalted form of authority, to exploit that dignity, that status for his own benefit. Rather, he washes the dishes, you might say. So there is a parallel, clearly, of some sort with Adam there. Jesus doesn't do that. Whereas Adam fell, Jesus stepped down. He took a lower rank deliberately. Now, he could have exercised his enormous authority as the image and form of God, but he doesn't. He acts as a servant. It's exactly the situation in the wilderness temptation where the devil plays on the fact that he is the Son of God, that Jesus is the Son of God, and asks him then to use that extraordinary status for his own advantage. Where Adam failed and fell, both things, the second Adam did not. He did the opposite. He did not use his divine authority as a means of exploiting. He didn't exploit his divine authority as a means of exalting himself, but rather he takes the status, role, and form of a servant. And he serves humanity, even to the point of going to a tortured death on the cross. That's about as low as you can get. In view of that, then, the second half of this passage in Philippians 2 says, in view of that, God exalted him to the highest possible position in the universe, as per Psalm 110:1, where he is the man still, the exalted man, now immortalized. But he's not God. He hasn't replaced God. He hasn't become another unbegotten person That's simply impossible. He's become the exalted human being. And so the New Testament is all about what God has done in an extraordinary way with a devoted and obedient human being, his own son,